And when we're practicing social distancing, so you can take your masks off too. Okay?
Like here is better.
Yep.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yep. Due to the current federal and state emergency declarations and the guidance for social distancing due to the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, this meeting of the Montville School District Board is being conducted in accordance with the Minnesota statute, meetings by telephone or other means of device meeting. And Dr. Heller, will you explain this to YouTube?
Yes, people can monitor this meeting remotely by going to the Montevideo Public School YouTube link. That can be reached by going to the district's homepage, which is montevideoschools.org, clicking on activities up at the top, which will give you a drop-down menu, and then going down and clicking on watch activities live, and that will take you to the live stream events. Also, people wishing to address the board can submit items to address the board at montevideoschools.org, and those will be reviewed following the meeting.
Thank you. Roll call, Vulcan, Franzel, Hoover, Snell, Stinson, and Helgeson. And the principals, I think is all online, right?
Yes.
Principal.
Yeah, I'm here.
How are you? Thanks. Principal Huntley?
Here.
Principal Gray?
Here.
Principal Sprung?
Here.
And do we have our student rep on board yet? Is that okay?
Okay.
1.3. Approval of agenda. Whitney Sandman, SWNS teacher assistant. 2.1 calendar change. I'm sorry. SM1 and then the calendar change. And 2.2 board policy 808 COVID-19 face covering policy.
2.1 and 2.2 are discussion items.
Oh,
The other 1.5.4.2 is an addition to the consent agenda.
okay, thank you.
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Thank you.
Second.
Maggie? Kelly? Any further discussion? And we'll do a roll call vote. Kelly?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Maggie?
Aye.
Andrew? Aye. Travis? Travis? Travis?
Aye.
Thank you. Darren is an aye, and that passes unanimously. Nobody's here to address the board. So 1.5, approval of consent agenda items. Motion and a second.
I'll move approval of consent agenda items.
Thank you, Maggie.
Second.
Thank you, Andrew. Any other further discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Kelly? Travis,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Aye.
Andrew.
Aye.
Darren is an aye. Resolution accepting gift donation contribution or request is 1.6. And with fifth grade, Larry Kruger donated $1,555 to the MMS or Mountain View Middle School fundraiser.
Make a motion to accept the donation.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Joe. Any further discussion? Then we'll do a roll call vote. Kelly,
Aye.
Joe, Travis,
Aye.
thank you. Maggie,
Aye.
Andrew,
Aye.
passes unanimously. Superintendent's report.
Okay. School board filings, filing closes tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. We currently have 3 candidates who filed. The MDE MASA Superintendent Back to School Conference is tomorrow and Wednesday morning. That is being held virtually. I will be attending from my computer. Safe learning plan. When I first wrote this, at that time, they were saying a face mask policy was required. Face mask provisions must actually be included, they've determined now that the policy doesn't necessarily need to be in place, but what the policy says is that you'll follow the various items in there. So we do have the initial reading of a face mask policy later on the agenda. We plan to have the plan finalized by the end of the week. Also, as a part of that, the service cooperatives, itinerant services or staff members are exploring doing their presentations through telepractice or teletherapy, primarily because a lot of them go to multiple communities, and that starts to break down the idea of trying to keep groups in pods or keep things isolated. And so they are looking at having, for example, OT and PT and speech. And for some districts, there's psychology services and so forth done virtually. Board work session, possible dates for a board work session. If you want to continue looking at Monday, being the 17th, the 24th, or the 31st. Items that would be on the agenda would be the calendar changes that are being discussed later today, and then also the second reading of the policy for face coverings, and then any other topics that board members would want placed on the agenda.
For the first time ever, all those dates were.
I don't, the 17th does not,
Okay.
or sorry, the 24th does not.
Okay.
The 31st, I may have to be in court in St. Cloud on the 17th. No, that's virtual. I think may work if it's.
17th and 24th work for me.
Okay.
17th, 24th, 31st are all.
Okay.
Travis, what about you?
We are gone the 17th until later in the evening, and tentative right now I'm scheduled to start silage on the 24th, and I run 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. So the evenings, I mean, I would just have to do it virtually, I guess, because yeah, I guess at the 24th we're scheduled to start silage, which is a 2 to 3 week job.
Okay, so Travis, William, 17th is the best then, is that what you said?
What's that?
17th sounds like the best if you're gonna be virtual, well, you're gone, but
Yeah, but I could do that one virtually. We'd be on the way back from the cities. Like that one I could do. The other one, you would hear some two-way chatter on the radio.
Turn his phone
we,
just a little bit longer.
Okay, time.
Did you say 6? Maggie works better for you on the 17th?
Okay.
got it.
Okay, so we'll look at a board work session on the 17th at 6 o'clock. That's all I have.
17th at 6 o'clock.
Calendar in my car, so I feel like I'm the only one. Andrew will get text.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What's next?
I will.
Okay.
Right.
Blow your camera, or your calendar.
Thank you.
I think every year as we get older, it gets slower to have Easter calendar.
Wow. We're also at that anyway, so.
Alright.
One point eight. Oh, I'm not done. Yeah. 1.8. Board committees, negotiations.
Okay, later in the meeting, we've got a contract, for ratification with the custodial unit. Right now, I'll recommend that we approve that. And then, the team is also negotiating with the, teachers' assistants. I think those are the only open two at this point. And, we're moving through that this summer. That's all we got for now.
Thanks, sir. Administrators. Principal Hickey.
Yes,
You want to talk?
I didn't hear what it was you wanted me to talk about. Is this updates?
Administrators report.
I believe we're just giving updates on the handbook this month, correct?
Okay, yep.
Fire away.
Yep. The only handbook change for the high school, which will be for all schools, is that we are adding some legal language and protections regarding the use of power tools at all schools and additional training that is necessary as a result of an incident that occurred last year.
Thank you. Principal Huntley.
Good evening. Just some real minor things in the middle school portion of the handbook. The daily schedule, period 6, 7, and 8 had some minor minute changes, and that's mainly due to 5th grade specials and where I put those to ensure that staff have enough prep time. So instead of period 6 being 50 minutes, now period 8 will be 50 minutes. One change as far as our Hawk Pride discipline procedures go, and that's regarding bus suspensions. And instead of them being worth 4 points, they're now worth 2 points. And that's the point system that we use over a 9-week period to determine if we need to develop a plan to help the student be successful. The only other change is student planners. Students in grades 4 and 5 will be the only ones issued a regular book style planner. We figure 6th and 7th graders now can start to use their online calendar and start to navigate that. And that is it from the middle school side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Principal Sprung.
Good evening. Ramsey and Sanford did not have any handbook changes this year.
Good. So does that mean Principal Gray, you don't have anything to say either?
The athletic handbook has no changes as well. We're just hoping to have some athletics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are the discussion items?
Huh? Oh, the discussion item?
Yeah.
I have to change it. Discussion items, 2.1. Calendar change?
Okay, we have 9 professional development dates scheduled on Wednesday afternoons throughout the year. And given the various instructional platforms throughout the year, we would propose that the dates be moved from Wednesday to Friday. The Fridays aren't typically the heavier learning days for students when we're in either distance learning or the hybrid system. And so that on all of them, for example, in September, it'd be moving from the 16th to the 18th, the 30th of September to the 2nd of October, the 28th to the 30th of October, 9th to the 11th of December, 6th to the 8th of January, 3rd to the 5th in both February and March, the 14th to the 16th in April, and the 12th to the 14th in May. As I said, that it'd be less intrusive in the other models.
The one time a month.
Roughly one time a month, yes. And so it's an informational, and that can be acted on at the work session.
2.2, Board Policy 808, COVID-19 face covering policy.
Okay. And in your packet at each of your places is a copy of that. What it does is it just goes through the general statement and it goes through the guidelines that came out of the Executive Order 2081.
And this was a model policy developed by MSBA.
Yes. Yes. So it does outline what occurs if a person simply refuses. Essentially, a person coming into the building who refuses simply won't be granted admission into the building. Students who refuse to wear a face mask other than for a medically confirmed reason essentially have opted for distance learning. And then they do note in the policy that there is a misdemeanor charge that can be levied on that. And it's noted also in the policy that it doesn't apply to basically to children or to students.
Students that wouldn't apply to a student, but a staff member that,
Yeah.
but it could.
Yeah.
Misdemeanors.
Right. So originally this was put together because they had stated in the guidelines for the learning plan that you had to have a policy. They've revised that where you have to adhere to the items within that. We can go either way on whether or not we adopt a policy. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's confined by definition and by title to the COVID-19 face covering issues. So there's nothing wrong with having something right where people can find it, they can read it, they can see what it says.
Right.
It's been acted on by the board, and so there's really nothing wrong with having one. It doesn't bind us to anything going kind of forward into other fields unless you have to modify it to meet those needs.
Sure.
So, I would actually recommend that we go ahead and adopt it on final reading at the work session.
Work session. Okay, fine. Anybody have any problems with that?
No, that's good.
Okay.
Thank you. I do have a question. When in such time the emergency executive order is canceled, then this would just fall away?
Yep.
Would be the idea? And there's, maybe you said that.
But yeah, so it's really confined just to the pandemic.
Right.
When
And the governor's order.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, so when it ends, and it will, I mean, at some point, I think they always have.
right.
So, but yeah.
Okay.
Thus far.
3.1. Approve student school board representative. Following the interview process, it is recommended that Alondra Valerio be appointed as student representative of the school board in the upcoming year.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Andrew. Maggie. Roll call vote. Kelly.
Aye.
Travis.
Aye.
Joe. Aye. Maggie.
Aye.
Andrew.
Aye.
And Darren is an aye. 3.2, approve student and faculty handbooks. The administrators reviewed the handbook changes. The report will be available to answer any questions.
Make a motion to move.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Lee. Kelly.
Aye.
Travis. Travis.
You just pop back in.
Might be a minute.
Hi, Travis. Joe.
Aye.
Andrew.
Aye.
Maggie.
Aye.
Darren as an aye.
Travis.
Travis.
Aye.
Close up, yeah. Jeez.
I thought that was intentional.
Ken was, but 2020-21 contract between AFL local union, 1686 custodial and maintenance workers. And I asked Independent School District 129. Contract agreement has been reached between negotiating teams represented in the custodial union and the school district. The board negotiating committee can speak to specifics if you have any questions.
I'll move to approve the contract.
Thank you, Andrew.
Second.
Thank you, Joe. Well, roll call vote again. Kelly.
Aye.
Travis.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
Maggie.
Aye.
Andrew.
Aye.
You. And Darren is an aye. Operating levy referendum. A decision needs to be made with respect to the renewal of the district operating levy referendum. The initial decision needs to be made as to whether or not to place it on the ballot in the fall of 2020. The number of questions and the amount, if we are moving forward, will need to be made in a resolution taking action to call the election.
So it's really a two-step process. First is just to identify that we're moving forward. It's the same process we used 10 years ago when we did that. So you identify where to run the election in the fall, whether it be 1 or 2 questions and what the total amount will be. And then the second is the formal resolution that would be published, and it includes all the ballot language.
And the reason we're doing this is because the current referendum is set to expire.
Right, it will expire after the next.
After 2020?
Yeah, after 2021 will be the final year.
Okay.
For it.
I don't know if everybody wants to, do you have a recommendation?
I would recommend going with one question, but the tax impact's the same either way. By the same token, if you went with 2, I think the key is that with our communications and when we discuss the referendum, I think we need to acknowledge the fact that 10 years ago, our voters were good enough to give us this money that is going towards technology. We're not using that entire $156 for technology. We can increase, we're not going to put it into our ballot language, but we can say our intent is to increase to where we're meeting all of our needs by putting the original amount completely towards technology, and then the rest is for other curriculum needs. So you can go either way.
The tax impact is both ways is very minimal.
You're right, and it's identical.
Yeah.
It's on one of them, you eliminate the current tax and then you put it back on with the.
So, we've had a couple of work sessions where we've talked about this. I'm in favor, I won't make a motion quite yet, and we'll play this through a little bit, but I'm in favor of giving our voters an option to stay tax neutral, but still asking for the full amount in a second. So first question, the 156.76, and the second question is the 303.24. Gives our voters, again, an option to be tax neutral, and if they want to, they want to give us the ability to expand some programs with the extra revenue, they can vote for that as well, but we would really like to keep that amount of money that we've been getting for
I just want to make sure there wasn't something that we lose by not passing the 303.
Yeah.
No, although and what we want to do is we want to go up to that additional amount in order to look at doing some things to be expanding our program.
Part of the reason.
And that's why there's the state levy.
Part of the reason that number was chosen, that 460, is that it maximizes state levy, so it's money from the state coming back to us.
Right.
And if that money didn't come to us, it would go somewhere else.
Right. It's not going to lower people's income tax at all.
Right, and so.
I hear you, I'm just.
And I'm not saying I'm opposed, Andrew, to your idea, I just think that it's important that the voters know that, and I don't know if anybody's even watching, but, that it's important they know that, that this is money that's coming from the state. We understand you're paying taxes, but it's gonna go to some other school district if it doesn't come here, or somewhere else.
I think those are very important things for us to emphasize as we go out and take this to the voters. And I think we need to campaign this much like we did the last operating levy campaign, where we had the meetings with neighborhoods, and we had the various. I think that's an important factor to get that out there.
My biggest concern about one question is that one, I think that it'll probably go, the vote will go the way of the election in general. With the pandemic, it's difficult to know what our opportunity will be to sell this. Clearly, I think that the $460 option is the best option for student opportunities, and it's the best option for bringing money, state money, into our school district. And it makes the most sense in terms of that. It's just, I might be a little gun shy after.
One question or two, probably.
Yeah, after seeing that, the opportunities to sell this, why we're doing this and the importance of it are maybe difficult.
So one of the things with an operating levy is that if you go with 2 questions and you get the first one passed, you can come back the next year with the second question again. And you can, or in any year after that. The only stipulation is it has to be a November election.
Right.
And so you still can have a chance to maximize it in the future. So that's still, it's something that's available. If you go with just one question for the full 460 and it gets voted down, then you're looking at the year following that coming back and you decide either you're going to go down to just the one question or you're going to run it with 2 at that point. Which the reason that the last one went to 2 questions was because we failed on the initial attempt when we ran that my first fall here, and then when we came back, we put an amount of roughly $700 that we really needed to have to replace that $500 one. That was what we needed to get shored up, and then the technology one was, then if we can get the first one passed, then we'd also like you to consider the technology. If they both passed overwhelmingly. So there's pros and cons on both ways. But I think we've got opportunities to look at it both in the short term and in how we move on down with possibilities on it. So
I'm gonna try something, so. I'll make a motion that we run a 2-question operating referendum. Question 1 would be for 156.76, and question 2 would be for 303.24.
156.76, you said?
Yep,
And the second question was what, sorry?
303.24.
Okay, yeah. Does anyone?
I'll second.
Make a second. Thank you, Joe.
So are we jumping to 3.5?
no, we're still on. So if you look at the motion that were written out, it was broken down into A and B, 2 choices, two different wordings.
2.4.
On 3.4.
Yes.
A and B, and Andrew chose B. The ballot question with 1 question renewing the current levy when it expires. And question 2 would be a new levy of 303.24.
Okay. And Joe, you second?
Correct.
I think that, 2 questions gives the community ownership in the school.
Gives them a choice too. I mean,
Yeah.
we know, we heard loud and clear that it wasn't good timing for the other project that we ran. So let's make sure we give our voters options and I trust that they'll make a good choice like they did last time, right? And they support us for 10 years and they'll continue to support us, but let's make sure we give them a choice. Informal, yeah.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote. Kelly?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
Thank you. Kelly? Oh, sorry. Joel?
Excuse me, aye.
Maggie?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
And Darren is an aye. Passes unanimously. 3.5. Resolution relating to increase in general education revenue of the school district and calling for an election therein on Monday. We will have a resolution calling for an election and the ballot language for each of the options listed in the agenda from item 2.4. We simply need to select the appropriate one. We already did that. So. Anyone want to make a motion to adopt a resolution relating to the general election?
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Maggie. Anyone want a second?
Second.
Thank you, Joe. Roll call vote. Kelly?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Maggie?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Darren is an aye. Adoption of the base learning model for 2021 school year and other COVID-related matters. Go ahead. Explain that.
Okay, so this is a resolution that was also adopted or put out by MSBA. It identifies all the processes and then it allows for the statement of what the learning platform would be. In the resolution that was put out, I put what had been in the original, that it would be with elementary in person, secondary would be with the hybrid. Mr. Huntley has also submitted a proposal that the entire middle school go to the same platform, which would be for the middle school to go to hybrid. So, and Mr. Huntley is available to speak to that if you would like. Well,
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Huntley?
So by adopting this, we're adopting some things about the thing generally, and also this is what we're communicating, right?
Right.
So kindergarten through third grade would go back full in person. Middle school, 4th through 7th would go back hybrid, and high school, 8 through 12 would go back hybrid. That's our state currently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's based on some recommendations, both from the COVID standards, and then also some additional information provided to the board administration by Mr. Huntley.
yeah. And the 4th through 6th grade going hybrid is more restrictive than what is required for them under the current numbers. However, it does keep everybody within the building in the same type of model.
Okay.
I move that we approve the model.
Thank you, Maggie. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. We'll do a roll call vote or any further discussion.
Let's make sure Travis has any questions.
So I voted on this, that's all right. No matter what.
Well, unless they change.
Unless it gets worse.
And the numbers change better or worse.
Right, right.
I do have a question. How does hybrid model work for the first day of school? How do kids know, how we communicate to families? Are you a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, or a Thursday? And if you're not till Thursday, just how is that
I can speak to that if you like.
That'd be great.
At the high school, and I know the middle school, we had talked about this. I can let Sean speak about that. As soon as a decision is made this week, we will get a hold of all our parents, let them know which group they're in. And our open house would tentatively be on the 25th, and it would go from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and would operate much like our parent-teacher conferences, with parents and students being able to make an appointment, and they'd be able to come in, or we could do that appointment via virtual means if they did not want to come into the school. We would disseminate all our materials at that time for the students and make sure all of our students were on Google Classrooms to start instruction on day one. And people that would not be able to come into school, we would be able to provide a delivery or a pickup option of all of their school materials.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anything different for you, Mr. Huntley, or?
Very much the same. During our conferences, students would come in and get their Chromebooks, and if they were not on the exact first day, if they're on the second day of school, we'd show them how to log on to their class or get into their classroom so they can participate that first day of school. I also think it's important to look at my proposal when I had shared that, looking at hybrid for the middle school and looking at it more as a phased-in approach. With us being elementary, middle school together, I think it allows us the opportunity to phase in more students as our numbers and we assess the situation. And, first 2 weeks, if things are looking good, we can bring fourth grade back. And if 2 weeks after that, things are still looking good, bring in fifth grade. As long as our numbers stay within the realm of being able to do that, I think that's going to provide us some little bit of flexibility on how we get more students back as quickly as possible.
And Sean, are you going to be having conferences in the first week?
Correct. Yeah, that Thursday of workshop week, which is the 25th. We have conferences scheduled all day, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sign-up sheet would go up here to sign up.
So either be signing a purple folder or a yellow one, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
I guess my thoughts, and I'm probably in the minority, I don't know why as a district we're going to go against MDE and MDH's guidelines. We all admit that the best place for kids is in the schools, and they learn better in the schools, and then we're going to pull them away because we have one grade that doesn't fit our model. I listened to all the administrators here the other night, and they all said that if the safety was not the concern, everybody learns better in school. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but I'm going to trust MDE and MDH's numbers. And if they say that they can be in school and that's supposed to be safe, and that's their best learning, I don't know why as a district we're going to restrict it more. That's just my thought. If we're that concerned about COVID, that we're going to restrict it more than what the state and doctors state, then just go full district learning. I mean, parents still have the option to go distance learning if they don't want to feel safe bringing their kid in, right? So we're giving them both options. I don't know what the surveys have come back. Are we about 20% on the average of everybody says they're going to go to distance learning no matter what model we go to?
I think we're running in that area from about somewhere between 15 and 20. Right. Or a little earlier, last figures I saw were around 17%.
Right. So we're telling the other 80% of our community members that feel comfortable sending their parents to the school that we as a district understand you want to send your kids to school, but because we have a unique situation with one classroom or one grade in our building that we're concerned about having them coming in and out. I don't know. I just feel like personally, I think we're going.
I think Dr. Keller said there was 20% that were going distance learning, correct?
Right.
And what percent said that they preferred hybrid appearance, or wasn't that even an option to prefer hybrid?
I haven't seen that figure yet.
I think Sean Huntley's in his building every day. Mm-hmm. He knows what it's like. He knows what his kids are here, and it's not our position to micromanage what he's doing.
Well, I'm not saying to micromanage, but I don't understand. I don't know how what's our position to go above and beyond what the state guidelines state too?
Well, I think Sean's saying it's safer to have, my assumption is, Sean, that you feel like it's safer for the students and your teachers can do a good job teaching the students.
Right, and all due respect, that's just his decision, I mean, that's his opinion.
Yeah,
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
I think, so, I've been a fan of the hybrid version for as long as it's been a version. And for me, when you start out in slightly more conservative than the state standards, you might be a little more consistent. So people might be able to stay hybrid longer, or, I mean, Luther, you told me the other day of the districts that went and said exactly what they're gonna do the day that the governor gave guidelines. How many of them, out of 300, how many of them had to change course already?
Of those that identified immediately, 27 have already.
Yeah, so like a third of the schools had to change. And, you know, we're giving our parents, albeit not a whole lot of time here, because we're only a couple weeks from school, but we're gonna go, if we go this way, we're gonna stay this way as long as we can, and it might let us stay this way longer. So that's, for me, it's about consistency, and I think it does do a nice job looking out for the staff and the students. Maybe more so the staff than the students in this case, I guess, because they'll be exposed to a little bit less population at a time. That's where I'm at, but I said your points are absolutely valid.
Your point's taken. I hear you.
Travis, give you a chance to jump in if you want. We were asking if you had any thoughts about what we're doing.
No, it's the people that I work with day in and day out and in constant contact with, right or wrong, they really can't educate their kids the way they need to be taught in school. You know, because they're going to work their 8 to 5 or 6 to 5 job, whatever it is, and then they got to come home and spend 2 or 3 hours teaching their kids. What is the kid going to pick up out of that? Because I can tell you how well my kids listen to me at that time of night, let alone having to actually teach education to them. So I just as soon see them in school, but I also don't want to risk their safety or the safety of the faculty. So for that, I have to, like Joe said, I have to leave it up to the MDA and assume that they have a lot more expertise and knowledge than I do on that top subject. So if they think it's safe, they'd have to go with them.
Any further discussion? We're going to roll call vote. Kelly?
And what are we voting on? The model with Mr. Huntley's recommendation?
Right.
Aye.
Okay. Joe?
No.
Maggie?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
And Darren is an aye. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thanks, Joe.
second.
Thanks, Maggie. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, answer by saying aye. All. Roll call vote. Kelly?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Maggie?
Aye.
Aye.
Andrew? Darren? Aye.